Before we begin, there are a few webinar tips to share. To interact with the panelists and moderator, submit a question through the question and answer feature found in the controls at the bottom of your screen. You can submit questions anonymously if you would like, but if you include your name and submission, we'll give you a shout out before your question. You cannot interact with other attendees through the webinar. The chat feature has been disabled and only our staff members can view your questions submitted through the question and answers. Students participating in the full panel discussion today will be entered into a drawing for a $50 Visa gift card. And if you're participating as a whole class, don't worry, we'll be reaching out to your teacher for a list of names. So if you need technical assistance, you can call the help desk at 766-6772, and that's a 434 area code. And now, without any further delay, I'd like to turn things over to the discussion's moderator, Ms. Alexis Ehrhardt.
Thanks, Dana. Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I currently serve as the president and CEO of the Danville, Pittsylvania County Chamber of Commerce. And if you were anything like me in high school, I would have had no idea what a Chamber of Commerce is or does. So we work with businesses and nonprofits in our community to help them thrive, to help them grow so that we have an economic climate in this region that encourages our businesses to expand and to attract more businesses, to make a great workplace for everyone who lives here and to improve the quality of life overall. So very excited about the work we get to do. And I think the main takeaway I want you to have from my introduction is that there was no clear pathway to get where I am today. And that might be a little unsettling for the type A's on the phone. I'm a recovering type A, so I understand if that makes you nervous. I will tell you I majored in Latin American and Caribbean studies and Spanish as an undergrad because I thought it was fun and interesting. And people said, "What are you going to do with that?" And my response was, "What can't I do?" I'm a big believer in liberal arts education, and unless you are striving to be an engineer or a nurse or something that has to have that particular degree, I do really support liberal arts education because it helps you to think critically and write well and all of the skills that you need in a variety of jobs, including those we're going to hear about today. So without further ado, I'm going to let each of our panelists introduce themselves. They'll have just a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about who they are, how they got into hospitality, into the sector, and what they're doing now. So Adam, can we start with you this morning?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Adam Goebel. I'm the executive director here at the Danville Science Center. For those of you all that are not familiar with the Danville Science Center, we are actually a division of the Science Museum of Virginia in Richmond under the Department of Education. So I, just like Alexis, never thought I would be working in museums. When I was younger, I had a whole list of things that I wanted to do, from being a truck driver to a police officer to a construction worker. But it's funny how that career path kind of shook out, if you will. So I'm originally from Southern Virginia, grew up in Martinsville, transferred to Danville to attend Averett College, where I graduated with a degree in biology. From there, kind of what got me started down the informal education career path is I took an internship with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, where I did STEM education all along the eastern shore of Virginia. During that internship, I was made aware of a part-time position here at the Danville Science Center, and this was back in 2001. Applied for that job, was fortunate enough to have the job waiting on me when I got back from the internship. Started here in August of 2001, part-time, and have been here ever since. So I know a little bit about everything about running this Danville Science Center. In my current capacity as executive director, I've been in this position since 2014, when we opened up the Southern Virginia's first and only digital dome theater. And just here recently, we're wrapping up our most current renovation and expansion, which includes about 15,000 square foot of public interactive exhibit space, as well as a new creativity lab. So very exciting stuff, very exciting times. I look forward to sharing my experiences and all the information with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam, for being here this morning. John Clark, let's go to you.
Well, thank you. My name's John Clark. I'm the executive chef / food and beverage director here at Virginia International Raceway. I've been here about a year and a half now. Previously come from the West Coast, where I was the executive chef at the Woodland Park Zoo. So about 10,000 people a day we fed there, plus. My career started as a dishwasher in high school, you know, to make a little extra money. And I just found it really an awesome journey, and who doesn't love food? And I worked for an Italian family, and so not only was it the food aspect, but the family aspect, and it really brought it all together. And it was comfortable, and my grandmother was a chef, so it kind of felt normal, you know, it was in the blood. So pursued that, went to Riverside Culinary Academy right out of high school, became an executive chef. Early at age 26. I was one of the youngest executive chefs at the time. So I have been very lucky with my career, mostly country clubs, high-end country clubs, private. So I've met a lot of celebrities. That's been a lot of fun there. But it's just been a really awesome career. And again, you know, who doesn't love food? And I do a lot of stuff with a lot of schools where we go in and we do the you know, planting the seeds and what can we do with those products, and taking the GMOs out of the foods and eating healthy. And so I won Humanitarian of the Year award through the American Culinary Federation 2 years ago for a lot of that. So again, really rewarding career, and finished my food sciences at Portland. Let's see, that was Western Culinary Academy at the time. Now it's something else. So, and then that just led into a great prosperous career. So and now I'm here. So thank you.
Great to have you, John, and a belated welcome to Southern Virginia. Madi, good morning. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Madi Eades. I work with Alexis, so I'm the Director of Member Engagement at the Chamber of Commerce currently. Before this, I just started in February. So before, I was at the Virginian Hotel, which is a curio collection by Hilton in Lynchburg, Virginia. I started my hospitality degree when I was 15, really at Tuscarora Country Club. So I was a lifeguard, but then in the tap room, I served, did the cash register, and cooked, of course. So I discovered that I just loved working with people, loved serving people. Decided to major in hospitality and tourism management at Virginia Tech, which is the #2 program in the country. Highly recommend. And I think it's important to know how flexible hospitality degree can be. I worked at a hotel, of course, and moved up quickly. So there's so many different things you can do. And now I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, which is actually something I wanted to do when I was in middle school. So I think I'm really excited to be here to talk to you all and answer any questions you have.
That's great. Thank you all so much for introducing yourselves. A couple of you have talked about kind of your pathways there, which I think is so interesting because where we land is sort of a culmination of our experiences. John, let me start with you. Which life experience would you say, a job, an internship, a course, helped prepare you most for your work specifically at VR?
Ooh, you know, it's been definitely a long path. Probably the zoo, working at the zoo for the large groups. You know, coming from private country clubs, we did everything on a smaller scale, but very eloquent. I wanted to challenge myself with the zoo. And, you know, what does 10,000 people look like a day coming through the doors? So that was where the math part came in really important, because you're just taking what you're doing and you're multiplying it, you know, 10-fold, 20-fold. And that was the biggest piece that kind of enabled me to be able to take this position on such a large scale, because we're essentially running 3 businesses independently of each other. So it does get challenging at sometimes, but that's what I love about this job and the career is the challenges, and the rewards definitely are there as well.
Right. Adam, let me ask you the same question, because even though you've been at the same organization, you've had so many different responsibilities and roles. So can you hone in a little bit maybe on an internship or maybe something you did at Averett that's really prepared you for that ED role that you're in right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned it a little bit in the introduction. I think one of the things that really set me apart and was positioned me to be successful in getting the position in eventually part-time at the Danville Science Center was that internship I took. It gave me some real world experience in doing exactly what this position was doing, just in a different geographic location. So it was a natural fit. But even before that, I think really, I've always been a very curious and inquisitive person. I want to know why things do what they do and how things work. And I think that is kind of in essence what science is. So even at a very early age, I remember getting in trouble because I took apart my mother's vacuum cleaner because I wanted to know how it worked. Needless to say, I was not able to get it back together. But again, I think that was what kind of led me down the pathway. Always wanted to be outdoors, always loved animals, always loved nature, loved to hike, loved to fish. So that's where the kind of the biology background came in. But honestly, I can say when I took that internship, I had no idea that it would put me on a path to working in informal education, where I started part-time, and eventually just through hard work and determination went from part-time to full-time within a year, from full-time to a promotion within 4 years, and then finally where I am now as the executive director. So hard work and determination has a lot to do with it, I think.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Madi, I want to go to you now because I think what you described is probably the most traditional pathway in terms of working in the field in high school, getting that very specific degree at a top program, going right into the field, in fact, while you still were working on that degree. So can you talk a little bit about that pathway, how it really helped you prepare specifically for the Virginian, and then the transition? Like, what have you taken from hospitality and your time at the Virginian that you've brought to the Chamber? How has that been translatable?
Yeah, so I, at Virginia Tech, the Hospitality and Tourism Management program is in the business school. So our first 2 years were spent doing all the business classes like marketing, accounting, finance, all of those fun things that I just loved. And then once we actually got into the actual classes, like the hospitality classes, we did event management and revenue management when it comes to hotels and restaurants. I got to open a fake restaurant, and then I took a chef lab, which is just super fun. And then event management, lots of different things, marketing. You get to hone in on all the different hospitality careers that you can take because there are so many different paths you can take. So I think that was super helpful in college to prepare us for the many different things that we could do with that degree. I do think the traditional thing to do after you get a hospitality degree is go work for a hotel, go work for a event company, go work for a restaurant, and that's exactly what I did. I took a position as front office manager while I was still in college. So I was in Blacksburg, hotels in Lynchburg, so I was going up every weekend. Hotel wasn't open yet, so I was hiring staff and training staff on the weekends, and then going back and taking my final exams in college. So I graduated on May 11th of 2018 and opened the hotel on May 15th. So it was a crazy whirlwind experience as front office manager. And then about a year later, I got promoted to catering sales manager. So I did the weddings and social events and conferences and everything like that. So that was super fun. I think overall, so I transitioned to the Chamber of Commerce in February, of course. I think overall, what I love to do is serve people and help people and just work with people. So helping my community in the way that the Chamber of Commerce does and the revitalization of Danville in general. I'm really passionate about this area and super excited to be back here. So that transition of just really wanting to work with the people and serve my community is what made it so easy and seamless for me to come work for the Chamber, and I'm super excited.
Well, in the spirit of full disclosure, I'm very excited that Madi's at the Chamber too, and we see how those skills and training has translated over. So, John, let me come back to you because Adam mentioned earlier the importance of hard work and determination, which obviously is important in a number of careers. Hospitality and tourism strikes me, particularly something like VIR, extremely fast-paced, times of stress, right? Having to prioritize. Some things can be taught, some things can't be taught. Right? Some things you just have, some things you
Very
can
true.
learn. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you think are most important maybe not as specifically as VR, but that type, the zoo, VR, that type of environment, what are the skills and characteristics that you think are critical for our students to have?
Definitely a sense of urgency. Food knows no timetable. So, there's a short time from, time to get that food out. So you have to have that. You've got to love and be passionate about the industry. It is a very hard career, a lot of long hours, a lot of long days. I was here at 4 a.m. this morning, and I'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight, and I'll do that for the next 3 days. So it really is something that I've just become very passionate about, and definitely a sense of organization. You've got to be able to multitask. You've got to be able to do 10 things at once, and that's probably the most important thing as a chef, because everybody's coming to you asking you all the different fundamentals of the event, and you've got to kind of know everybody's job plus yours. And so there's those pieces there, and the time management, just to know that it's going to take this long to do this and this, and at the end of the day, it all comes back full circle, and good event, and everything's great. So
great, thank you, Adam. A two-parter, an easy two-parter. What's the part of your job that you enjoy the most, and what do you think is probably the greatest challenge, COVID or not COVID related?
All right. I think the part of my job that I enjoy the most is that it's always something different. In a museum, it's a very dynamic environment, oftentimes event driven. But the beauty of it pre-COVID, when we had a lot of field trips, is it was always a different grade level. They were always learning something new. We work in an industry where we encourage and like to hear screams and hollers and fun and laughter, kind of different from most professional settings, if you will. So that's what I like the most about it. It's always something different, always something unique. Like if people come to our Science Center and want to know more and ask more questions as they leave than when they came, then we've done our job. I guess one of the most challenging aspects is dealing with, let's talk a little bit about COVID, right? We were at a severe disadvantage when the whole pandemic hit. We were a hands-on indoor leisure facility for the most part. We took a dramatic hit in our resources as well as our funding when we were closed for about 7 months. So trying to navigate that in a post-pandemic world to get our staffing back up, to be able to get back some sense of normalcy, that has been very, very challenging. That's not something that you can plan or prepare for the most part. Obviously, I think with all of us going through this now, we will be a lot better prepared in the future for incidents like this. But that would say just near term, that's probably one of the most challenging things, was that situation. So.
Madi, let me come to you with that question too, in the context of the Virginian. What did you enjoy the most, and what was the greatest challenge?
Sure. So I enjoyed working with people and giving tours and envisioning their big wedding day, or talking through a conference setup, just planning something that's super important to them. Loved working with people. I've already said that so many times. I think it's so important if you're going into this industry. If you just want to work with people, I think you'll love it. There's lots of different things you can do. But one of the biggest challenges when it comes to COVID, we had to cancel all of our events, and I think we lost like $1 million in revenue. We couldn't do weddings again. We started doing them again in August, and then it was all the restrictions and everything like that. But aside from COVID, the biggest challenge in the industry that we had at the hotel was probably staffing retention, which has always been a thing, and I think it will always be a thing when it comes to like housekeepers and banquet servers and front desk agents and stuff like that. So I think you really have to work hard. When you serve the guests, that's your most important focus. But if you take care of the people that work there, then you're more likely to keep them. So I think that is the most important. And then they're more likely to take care of the guest as well. So I think that's one of the issues we had.
That's a great point. Taking care of your team so they take care of your customers, right? That's a critical component of any industry, one would hope. John, I saw you nodding there, and I know you probably encounter a lot of those same challenges. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the piece that you enjoy most and then the challenge too?
Definitely the COVID has been the most challenging in my 32-year career. It just really changed everything. You know, the chef that taught me said, you always find a job, you always know where your next meal is coming from. And that really did change. So many people were unable to find hospitality jobs. The most rewarding thing for me is really just hearing the guests' reaction when everything's said and done. This morning, I was delivering breakfast and I heard some people talking about dinner at the tavern last night, and, you know, I was cooking at the tavern. So that's really what that reward is about for me. It's, you know, being on the sidelines, knowing they really loved everything, and not going over there and saying, oh, hey, you know, thank you. Just knowing that we did our job and that those people came in here and had a great experience. And that's the most important piece, is to extend that piece to those people, because they are, you know, BIR, they're coming out here, they're used to being all around the world. You know, so I worked in an area with the retirement people, and so for me it was really important was these people had been all around the world, and so when I cooked them Italian food, I wanted them to remember a memory when they went to Italy, or, you know, some recollection of, oh, do you remember when we did this, as opposed to, well, here's some Italian food, enjoy. It was, you know, I wanted to do it so that these people were like, oh, hey, do you remember when we went to Italy or when we went to France? So it's those pieces that really make the worthwhile for me.
Mm-hmm. Great. Adam, let me come back to you. I think we envision what careers are like, right? Based on maybe what we see on television or social media. What do you think is something about the industry that would surprise our students, maybe that you've encountered?
Great question. I think the tourism and hospitality kind of industry is very unique. It's not a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 position. Oftentimes you're on the weekends when most people are off. So I think that's kind of unique. And also I want to touch base just a little bit about what the question that you asked John a little while ago about what was a very, very important skill to have. And I think all too often people lack just simple problem solving skills and critical thinking skills. You know, when an issue arises, it's going to arise in any industry, any business you have, and how you're able to adapt and resolve the problem is going to have a massive impact on everything around it. So I think, you know, those are two skills that are super important in today's industry. And I just encourage everyone to, you know, kind of think outside of the box. Yeah, you have, you know, the world at your fingertips, but nothing can really take the place of good old-fashioned hands-on problem solving in my mind. That's probably just the science coming out of me, but I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. So.
No, I think that's really important. Thanks for going back to that. And Adam, I want to stay with you. I want to ask you and John this question, both, since you're both currently in the industry, where obviously things are changing regardless. I think the pandemic maybe has accelerated some changes that maybe we would have seen, right, 10, 15 years down the line, but we've been pushed into doing them. I have a board member who says, never let a good crisis go to waste, right? So while we're seeing so much, sadly, we're seeing so much devastation through this pandemic, we're also seeing a lot of innovation and I think creativity in a lot of different sectors as well. So Adam, I want to start with you and then go to John. How do you think sort of emerging or evolving technologies or innovations are going to change your organization, maybe in the next, you know, the question says 5 to 10 years, maybe 3 to 5 years. What's coming?
That's a great question. I think what we took out of this is the ability to have to be able to be flexible and adapt to what comes down the pipeline. As a hands-on science center, our bread and butter has always been our facility. For 7 months, our facility was closed. So we really had to redirect all of our efforts and our energy, switch gears to more of a virtual learning format. As you and I were discussing before the event began, is it really highlights the inequities in broadband and internet accessibility. You know, I live out in the county. When my wife is on the computer, we can't stream a movie, or if we're streaming a movie, she can't be working because we have very poor internet access. So I think, just like you said, never let a good crisis go to waste, but also necessity is the root of all invention, right? So when you're forced to do it, you have to figure out, and again, problem solve and adapt to make sure that you can get done and continue to fulfill your mission. Because at the end of the day, that's what organizations are all about.
Great. John, do you want to take a shot at that too?
Yeah, for us, I mean, we learned a lot of digital pieces, QR ordering. That's something that we never really thought about twice. And then all of a sudden with hands-free, you had to learn a new aspect. So it was really an eye-opening experience for me. So I definitely see that digital piece, your Uber Eats, your those platforms, I think, are going to be just growing and being part of the mainstream now, because a lot of people started just enjoying meals at home again, but having the luxury of chef prepared foods, restaurants. So I think you're going to see, you know, a lot of people just reluctant to still going out. And so I don't know if we'll ever get to those capacities that we were used to, but you know, as we conform, you know, there'll be those little things that we can add to it. You know, the Uber Eats piece, and we do the QR code thing here. We have it in the hotel book. So, you know, they scan it, we get an order, you know, things like that. That's going to be a huge piece for what we're doing, I think, so going forward.
That's great. Thank you. I want to transition in just a moment. We have a few questions from students, but Madi, I want to ask you one more before we do that. As you think about the Virginian, what do you think is a perk or benefit of being in the industry that maybe people don't know about?
Okay, well, the first thing that comes to mind is the Virginian was a Hilton property. So with Hilton, we were team members and we got to get hotel rooms for $35 all over the world. So at any time I can just book a hotel room, which I still have that perk because they loved me. Don't tell Hilton. And then all my family and friends can also book hotel rooms at half off. So anybody that I add to my family and friend list can book a hotel half off. So I think that's a really cool perk that Hilton gives all of their employees.
And do you know if that is pretty standard in the industry for hotels anyway?
I would think it would be for the bigger brands. I know for a fact that Hilton does. I did my internship and started my career with Hilton, so I haven't worked for Marriott or any of the other large brands, but I would think so.
Okay. Great, Madi. I want to stay with you. We're going to move to our student questions, and a special shout out, and forgive me if I mispronounce, Madi, correct me, is it Mr. Tuart?
Yes.
Mr. Tuart's class at Tunstall High. Go help me with the mascot.
Oh my gosh.
Trojans.
Trojans. Sorry, I'm old.
I won't hold that against you. We want to send our congratulations to Madi, who's one of our great alumni, as well as a Hokie. Go Hokies.
Oh.
The kids want to know, why did you stay in Danville, or, you know, sort of transition Lynchburg, Chatham, Danville, after going away to Virginia Tech?
Okay. So I moved to Danville when I was in high school. So I was a freshman, brand new to the area. And not gonna lie, when I was in middle school, I Googled Danville and I was not excited to come here at all. And it slowly grew on me and grew on me and grew on me so more. And then I went to Virginia Tech. And then it kind of naturally flowed for me to get the job in Lynchburg. So I lived there for a little bit. But then we recently got a house in Chatham. So we live in Chatham now. And I just love this area. I think this area has so much to offer. It's growing so much. I think a lot of younger people have a negative connotation when it comes to this area. But I mean, it's growing and new businesses are opening up here all the time. New hospitality industry, the casino is coming. I'm super excited about that. New hotels are popping up. I see Patrick just got on. He can probably talk to more about that as well. And then the B just opened, and I think the tourism is just going to boom. And I think it's a really exciting time to live here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Kimberly Wood, good morning, Kimberly. She has a question, John, that I'm going to throw your way. Is college a requirement for a career in culinary arts?
It's not, but it definitely helps. You know, when you're going in for the job, it just shows that you really were passionate about that to pick that as your career. So, but you can definitely do it the old school methods, which is very respectable. But it just takes a little longer to get there.
Great, thank you. We have another question, and I'm going to go to Patrick Dewberry, who's just joined us. Patrick, if you wouldn't mind, take a minute or two to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your role, and then I'm going to start with you on our next student question. So if you would introduce yourself. And Patrick, I think you're muted.
And as always, Alexis is right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Dewberry. I'm the area manager of the beautiful new Hampton Inn in Danville, Virginia at the River District, the Best Western, which we call the Best Western, on Highway 58, and the new coming Quality Inn at Riverside. Ladies and gentlemen, please forgive my attendance and my absenteeism and my tardiness. As in the hotel business, one of our first words we learn is flexible. Our elevators have been down and we have been moving luggage all morning long for our guests. So thank you so much for allowing me to come in. Now back to our regular scheduled program already in progress. I hail from Raleigh, North Carolina, and I love hospitality. I eat, sleep, live, and breathe it. It is the thing that has taught me to be hospitable, even when I don't know how to do anything else. I've currently been working here for 26 months, and I'm proud to say that the hotels have had some amazing success. And even in our moments of low time, such as the time of the COVID-19, we've learned to work together with such branches as those that are on the line. So let me tell you a little bit about the hotel business in which we work in. One of the things that I'd like to say about hospitality is that in hospitality, we've learned to do two very important things: to not only give someone an experience, but to give them an opportunity. We believe in people coming to stay in our hotels, that they come not because of work, not because of leisure, but because they made a choice. So our job is to make sure that their choice was the right choice. We believe in red carpet service with white glove treatment. And in doing that, we go and do small things that make a large impact. We believe in the old rule of 15 feet away of smiling at you, which is the way of waving without using your hands. And now that we're all wearing masks all the time, we have to learn how to smize, which is using our eyes and a smile at the same time. We also believe that at 5 feet, it is our chance to greet you and to give you the opportunity to speak back to us. We believe that that transfer begins to change the entire rhythm of how your stay goes. One of the other things that we've learned to do is we use your name more than 3 times. That way you can hear our name, we can hear your name, and you have a friend. You may be traveling and away from your family who has been your lifeline during this COVID time, and now you're out and concerned about getting them ill going back. Well, we know to make sure that we give you your social distance. You may be the person who is going through a bad relationship who needs this time as solace to get back to another place. That's where we give you our welcome letter to let you know what's in the area, so that if you desire to have commentary from us, you can. But if you just desire a quieter spirit, you can have that as well. And last but certainly not least, we believe the win-win effect. There was a book that I read many years ago that was called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I go with the slogan, begin with the end in mind. And so I had to learn to begin with the end in mind by not thinking about how this hotel or Riverside was going to start, but how it was going to end. And I'm proud to tell you that that has carried me through my entire career for the last 21 years. It allows me to be able to see something that's not there by using my vision and not my sight. And Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles are 2 people who can promise us that using sight is not always going to get you to where your vision will.
Thank you, Patrick. So glad you could join us this morning. And you look pretty good for having hauled luggage. So if you could teach me how to not, sweat so much when I exert myself. That's the hospitality industry. That's that charm sinking in. We're so glad to have you. So John, let me come back to you. We have a question from Jakayla Davis. Good morning, Jakayla. She wants to know, do you enjoy what you do?
I absolutely love what I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't still be doing it after 32 years. Like I said, it's something that is just, I'm passionate about, and I love every minute of it. Every challenge, every reward is awesome. So yeah, I absolutely love what I do.
Adam, do you want to take that as well? I think that's a really important question.
It is, yes, I do as well, and very, very passionate about science and science education. I guess the best thing that we do here at the Science Centers is we connect people to the science in their lives, right? And as obvious as this pandemic has shown us that science is around us. Science is everything, and I think that's something that really, if we can change people's perspectives and give them the opportunity to kind of look at their world differently, then we've succeeded in what we're trying to do. So that's what I'm very passionate about.
We have another question. This is from Alexa Simpson. Good morning, Alexa. Patrick, I want to go to you on this one. Why did you start your career in this field?
That's a very good question, and thank you for that. Believe it or not, my entire life has been about being hospitable and about hospitality. I held my first career as a manicurist and a salon owner, and I believe that in that type of entrepreneurship, being hospitable was one of the things that I learned to do. I actually had learned to be hospitable in church, and so it just went hand in hand with what I was doing. I learned the power of saying please and thank you. And being hospitable has turned out to be the thing that I learned, in Steve Harvey's words, is the thing that was effortless. And I found out when you're doing something that's effortless, you're not working, you're just living. And in this life that we live, we have to learn how to not just survive, but how to thrive. So I began to walk in the footsteps of what everyone needs, which is a mentor, someone who is doing what I wanted to do, but doing it well. And someone who is not only doing it well, but they're thriving in it. So I started walking in the footsteps of that person. And now that person has actually gone on and passed away, but I'm able to leave the banner of light still going because of what they taught me.
Thank you. We're coming down to the end of our time, so I want to do a lightning round for the four of you. I want you to give, and Patrick, we heard one already, get a mentor. We have one more question. Sorry, this is gonna be our last question from a student. Heather Ringstaff wants to know the idea, a salary range for the industry. That's kind of a tough one. I guess it depends on where you are. Anybody want to take a stab at that one? Or maybe how it's structured?
May I ask what position? And then I can answer that if need be.
Pick a position.
Sure.
It's not
If we're speaking about the guest service agent, which is the GSA, that person, depending on the geographical area where they're located, can start anywhere from the number of $9.50 up until as high as $13 per hour. That depends on their time in the industry. That can depend on their service and the customer service training that they've had. May it be one of the local retail locations or something that was in food service. And last but not least, the thing on the inside. A good manager and a good hiring manager can not only see the thing that's coming, shining from the inside, they can feel the thing that's coming. So all of that has something to play into the hiring. But between $9 and $13 an hour is a good realm.
Great, thank you. So our lightning round. One takeaway, one piece of advice for our students who are interested in this sector. And Adam, I'm going to put you on the hot seat first.
Okay, advice. Have a lot of it, but I guess the number one thing I would encourage everyone is never stop learning. Never stop taking advantage of the opportunities.
Great, Madi, let's go to you.
I think something that I just want to say to everybody listening is, even though I did take the traditional path, you don't have to do that. But if any of this sounds interesting to you, hospitality is such a good degree to pursue. You can do so many different things. I mean, even just on this call, we have so many different careers that you're looking at. And I just can't even describe how many more you can do. And now I'm with the Chamber of Commerce. Never thought I would be able to do that. I mean, you can do anything with a hospitality degree. And like Alexis was saying as well, a liberal arts degree too. I mean, don't get stressed out about your degree in college because you're so young. I mean, I had no idea what I wanted to do in high school. And now here I am. And, you know, I don't have to be stuck in a position with this degree.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Patrick, your piece of advice.
My piece of advice for today is use this opportunity as a vehicle as it is. Hospitality is a vehicle simply because it can get you from one place to another and take you all over the diaspora to choose what career you would like to use and what career path you'd like to choose. I proved that simply by saying I had been a manicurist. I proved that by saying I went into the hospitality field. And I proved it by saying not only was I able to be a general manager, but to be an area manager and to hire more than 75 people. It is a vehicle that must have maintenance. It must stay in alignment so that it veers in the path that it needs to go. It is a vehicle that needs maintenance, that must have oil and fuel to go. So you've got to continue, as the gentleman said, to feed your mind. And you can go online and learn once you join with a Hilton property or a ChoICE property or a Best Western property, which go to their universities and do complementary studies. That's the new way to say free in 2021. And continue to keep growing. Because believe it or not, just like at home when your parents used to put the little line over your head because you were growing, that's the same thing that the people in your field will do. They will notice you growing and then they will afford you another opportunity to grow. So keep maintaining the vehicle.
That's great. And John, your advice for our students.
Enjoy the path. Every bit of it, you know, is challenging. But when you sit back and you enjoy it, it's not like working a day in your life. And respect everybody around you, because
yes.
That's the most important thing is that is your team, and they're either going to go through the door with you or they're not. And so, you know, as I'm the executive chef or the director, really, I answer to John, and we're all on the same team. And I don't put myself in a spot where I'm above anybody. I like to think that we're all on the same page and our goal is the same. And it's to positively impact everybody that we come across every single day. So that's pretty much what I would say is my advice.
That's great. Thank you all so much. I want to take a moment just to thank Adam, John, Madi, and Patrick for being here. I want to thank our friends at the Institute for hosting this event. And most of all, I want to thank our students just for being here this morning, for engaging with us, for wanting to learn about the different sectors. This is an amazing place to live, work, and play. I moved here almost 21 years ago. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area and honestly can't imagine being anywhere else. I feel so fortunate to work with colleagues like these every day. It's just a great blessing and it's my pleasure to serve. So with that, I want to turn it back over to our host, Dana and Audia.
Thank you so much to our moderator, Alexis Ehrhardt, and thank you to all of our panelists for sharing your knowledge and experience with us today. For our student attendees, we hope you are energized and excited to research opportunities in the hospitality and tourism career cluster. The Career Choice website is a great place to start. We will be drawing the gift card recipient name in the coming week, after we have a chance to follow up with our teacher whole class registrations. The gift card recipient will be contacted through the school. You can provide yourself with another opportunity to win a $50 Visa gift card by completing the Career Choice scavenger hunt that is located on the Career Choice website right now. And the Career Choice survey coming March 22nd. Each student completing both activities will be entered into a drawing for their school. Good luck, and we hope you will continue to take opportunities to imagine your potential, connect with employers, and explore your career possibilities. Thank you, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.